you! Help me!
Hey, everybody. That is Gary Smith.
Hello.
That is Kaz Kenny.
Kapow!
And I am Eddie Bramble, and this is episode 38 of the Blackwater's Edge podcast. Kaz, why don't you start us off with this week's fishing report?
Rolling along. So the fishing has been pretty good here the last couple of days. Anybody's been watching Facebook. So sun's coming out. You hear me talk about this all the time, why we catch the fish all winter long. You know, it doesn't take but 3 or 4 hours for that water temperature to jump up 10, 15 degrees here in Blackwater, simply because of the decaying pine tar that's in the water. You know, that pine is just decaying, the pine trees. It stains that water to where it's that black color that we just can't see into. So keeping that in mind when you're coming here to fish right now is very, very important. You don't need to come down here at 6 o'clock in the morning when it's chilly and, the temperatures dropped 8-10 degrees overnight. You want to wait for that window when the sun gets out there, that water's warming up, things are getting better, and bam, there they are. They're just feeding like crazy. So
what to do?
Bam! That's what they did. They just start eating like crazy. So over Key Wallace, we've been seeing some really good success. Newbridge has been seeing some good success. All the general areas that we fish are picking up. Guys are catching fish, and the guys that are moving away from the, let's just call it the inundated spots, they're finding the fish, they're finding the numbers, okay? So we do know plenty of people here that are catching 50-plus fish a day right now. They're just not being very vocal about it. They're keeping their spots kind of quiet because they're trying to clean the area out, you know what I mean? So we're doing what we can down here to try to make a difference. Anyway, fishing's been just bait. Most of it's been on minnows, snakehead destroyers from the bait boys, you know what I mean? This is going to throw you away. Brandy was out there this week with her son, and they caught him on grass shrimp. Mm-hmm. You heard me talking last year about grass shrimp, all the grass shrimp that are utilizing that warm water around places, not just like Key Wallace, but over 335 and, the places that we're riding into with our vessels and our kayaks looking at places, these shallow areas. I mean, they're really, really picking up. And this is when you want to focus on those spots when you want to fill your cooler, When they all eat, When one eats, they all eat. I've said it for a long, long time. You're going to catch a mix of fish, but right now, a lot of the fish that we're seeing caught are pretty damn quality size, Not seeing much in the way of largemouth bass. I mean, pay attention to the pictures, people. Go back on the page and look last year at how many people were posting pictures of largemouth bass here. Go back 2 years ago on the page and look at how many people were posting pictures of largemouth bass. You've been hearing me talking about this now for 3 years, and y'all have called me crazy. Y'all have called me I've lost my mind. Y'all blame water quality.
None of that is completely untrue.
I was going to say, what's that got to do with bass?
All right, point made. So anyway, the bottom line is this, the biologist called it. We see it here firsthand. We know it's coming. It's about done, and as soon as the bass are gone, then, that's when we're going to really see.
The chain reaction
We're going to see something here, big shift, and something big's going to happen. We just don't know how that's going to play out. We've been talking about that the last couple of weeks at the round tables and things like that, things that we're discussing. And, we're really, really concerned about that. So we're not sure what we're going to do. There's lots of shad around. There's lots of carp around. So that just tells us the same thing that it told us last year, that, that the fish that they are eating, the little bluegills, the little crappies. And we're going to talk about that later in the show, the disappearance of the panfish and what's happened with that. When you remove those small panfish from the equation, the only thing that we do is allow the other species to explode. So when we take away the panfish, we already know the bass are gone, so we don't have them eating in the food chain. We don't have the crap eating in the food chain. We don't have a lot of the fish here that we had in the mass numbers knocking down those shad and carp fry. So unfortunately, we're seeing a massive explosion in that. The market is just going down because there's so many fish coming out of that caliper, carp and shad. There's no money to be made off of them anymore now. So, a lot has changed here. A lot's still going to keep changing. And if you want to catch them right now, the biggest thing to pay attention to, again, like I said, is weather. Tide doesn't necessarily have a lot to do with it right now. It's not
temperature.
It's not so much a falling tide. You can have a slack tide, and that sweet spot temperature hits, man, and the feed is on.
It was 79 at 5 o'clock today.
Yeah, it was booking it.
It was humid last night, overnight. I mean, good God, last night I tried to stop and fish 3 or 4 times. I couldn't stay out of my car 5 minutes. I didn't have my thermocell. I probably would have made 10 minutes with a thermocell. I mean, literally, I got out and got back in the truck and looked like I had acne and somebody shot me in the face with a BB gun. So, anyway, that's where we're at the fish report. And come on down and go fishing, man. They're catching some big stripers. You ain't got to just go to Blackwater. We got lots of other fishing here you can do. We got the Nanacoat with the big blue catfish. We've got Hooper's On with the rockfish, the stripers, and the
how big was that record cat that they caught the other day?
151 pounds.
151.
Now that was actually down where Mary's going to school, from what I remember in the post.
That's down there.
Yeah,
Georgia.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Yeah,
that.
it was I don't even remember the name of the river because I kind of liked it. I think it was called the Little Hoochie or something like that. So I like hoochies anyway. So.
Well, on that note,
right.
So this week we've got the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Cornflower.
Hell yeah, boy!
How you doing today, buddy?
Hanging in there, man. Hanging in there.
Good. So, for the few who watch this show who don't know you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, my name's Dave Cornflower.
That's not your name.
Nah.
Tell them what your name is, Cornflower.
AKA Cornflower. Been working on the water and fishing for about 22 years commercially now, and every chance I get a recreational fish too. It's you got it pretty bad when you fish all day commercially. Then you come home, got to grab a rod and go out fish until dark. But
And don't forget to tell him what you do after dark. And then you're down in the marina collecting bait, getting ready to catch some catfish. I mean, he's nonstop.
Till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning.
I'm not trying to cut him off, but look, this dude has no set sleep schedule. Like, he'll go to bed at 6, get up at 8, go fish till 12, come back home, go to bed till 2, jump back up, go fish till 6, go back to bed, get a little nap, go back out at 10. I mean, that's just how Cornflower works. I don't know when I'm going to see him, when he's going to show up, or when he's going to be fishing. I just know that it's going to be somewhere and it's going to be soon. So.
Yeah, that's the truth too. You can never have too much fishing. Now sleep, that's another thing. You can do that when you're.
That's optional.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of that when you're 6 foot under.
So we know you like to fish. Is there anything else the famous Cornflower likes to do on the side?
Truthfully, no. I mean, no.
Amazing.
What else is there to do? I mean,
Do you hunt?
I do a little hunting, but rabbit hunting's about my favorite. I love the rabbit hunt, Goose hunting and duck hunting ain't so bad. Deer hunting, I don't know. I don't have the patience for deer hunting.
Can I jump in here with a little story about some of the other things that Cornflower likes to do? Because I'm thinking about some of the things that he does like to do. And one of the biggest things that Cornflower likes to do that really blew my mind when I met him, this son of a bitch eats crows, dude.
Oh, they're like steak, man.
Oh, man. I did not know that.
They are like steak.
This is legit, right? So we're hunting.
There's no limit on them either.
So we're hunting one day, right? And I hear, ah, ah, ah. I'm like, what the hell is that? I look down the hedgerow, man. Sure enough, he's sitting down there with a shotgun. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm out here getting crows. I said, what, do they do bad stuff to like the corn or something? Because I didn't know much back then. I'm learning as I'm coming in. He goes, oh, no, they're just delicious, man. I looked at him and I said, are you shitting me, man? He goes, dude, they taste like chicken, bro. I'm telling you, let me make some for you. I said, no way, dude. And I left and went home. So, I mean,
I had crow, I had blackbird pie. That's good. So there's a big blackbird.
I've always heard stories about you going to eat crow. And then when he said that, I'm like, maybe people really do eat crow.
I tend to like to target things that have no limits. And no, crows. I mean, you can't hunt them Wednesday through Saturday. You're only allowed to hunt them Monday.
Get that mic closer.
Yeah, Monday and Tuesday, you're not allowed to hunt them. But we used to hunt them as kids, man, and you could shoot as many as you want. You're allowed to use electronics to call them in. I mean, you burn through boxes and boxes of shell. The more you shoot, the more they come. And they're delicious. I mean, how can you go wrong? It's just like the snakehead.
So tell us, how in the hell do you cook, or how the hell do you prepare a crow, dude?
You
like
breast it out like anything else, like cook it up like steak. I mean,
seasoning. I mean, salt and pepper and a little bit of butter. Is it gamey?
Salt, pepper, and butter
strong?
is excellent. Yeah, a little olive oil.
God bless you, Cornflower.
And there's like 3 different kinds. You got your northern crow, you got the fishing crow, you got fishing crows got a little better taste.
I was about to ask you which one tastes better.
Yeah.
I never in my life, or Gary, I never in my life ever heard anything like this in my life. I'm sorry.
I'm not surprised, but I've never. I'm like saying I've eaten blackbird, but I never eat crow. Well, I've ate crow, but not.
Bucket list.
Probably
bucket
gonna
list.
eat some tonight, but
bucket list. All right, Cornflower. Next time you go crow hunting, we want to eat some crow. Okay?
Absolutely.
So what else you like to do?
Besides fish, crab. I mean, I like crabbing. I do like crabbing. I just like being out on the water early. In the middle of the night. Ain't nobody else out there. You catch dynamite fish at night most times, other than the snakeheads. I ain't really had luck with snakeheads at night fishing. Other bow hunting, right, I know you can do good with them. But I mean, the catfishing at night's great. You get the big ones then.
Now, how did you get to the Eastern Shore, Cornflower? How did you get here? I mean, I'm not from the Eastern Shore. Everybody knows that. I like to call myself a replant or whatever you want to call it. So let's talk about how you got here and how you got started fishing and how you got into all this stuff.
Oh, I originally had family on Taylor's Island, and my uncle, and I've been going down there ever since I can remember, 12, 13 years old. Started crabbing down there with him, and then when I was about 17 or 18, I actually started working for Mike Willie. Had the peeler pen then, down there pound netting with him. And, man, loved to pound net. And that was actually something I really enjoyed, too. Saw just about every kind of fish that swam in the bay in the pound nets, A lot of hard work, but it was great, And then after a couple years working with him, there was a crabber there that was retiring. He's like 80 years old, and he sold me his whole rig, boat, license, trout lines, everything. $600.
Dang.
Yeah, back then.
Times have changed.
Yeah, that was a lot of money, actually.
Oh,
back
yeah,
then,
no
believe it or
doubt,
not. You know? And I just started commercial crabbing and never looked back. So.
I know you like doing some netting too. I know you've been netting here a little bit later. What do you guys been seeing in the nets? What do you guys netting? Perch pretty much, right?
The perch are starting to show up. It's some really nice perch around the Honga and Anacoke right now. I mean, some decent ones, 12, 13 inches. They're just starting to show up. Other than the perch, ain't seen much.
You see many trout out here? I mean, I know you've been out in the little chop. That's where you've been doing some netting. We're not going to talk about where you're at, but you still seen any trout? You still seen any drum?
No
any
trout.
Drum today?
No. Saw one flounder the other day. About 18-inch flounder. It was legal. It actually had a trout in its belly when I cleaned it.
No doubt.
You know, but perch, there ain't many rock around the shores right now. I guess they've started to move deeper. Even the crabs and everything started to move a little deeper. Surprisingly, ain't seen no snakeheads this year in the net yet. But I ain't been actually up to the headwaters where they usually go. Now, last year when we started from all the rain all the way far out as James Island and the Bayfront, we were catching them in the nets.
I remember. That's just crazy, man. Like,
it blew my mind away. It really
we
did.
never imagined these things would live out there and that kind of stuff. And me and you both know from the beginning, when these fish got into freshwater, they didn't make it, man. And me and you, we've had the opportunity to watch things change over the years. And I think you, like me, also agree with the fact when I say to people, that these fish know how to adapt. They've learned to anyway. It's kind of like they've metamorphosized with each situation that they've faced. You know what I mean? Whether it be saltwater, whether it be freshwater, whether it be brackish, whether it be a septic pond.
When you got something that breeds 3 to 5 times a year, other than something that breeds once in the spring, it's evolving way faster than everything else.
Right.
I mean,
That's
by the time it has its third brood, I mean, they're adapted.
Now, you said something. We were talking earlier before the show about some numbers and how we could present numbers to the public in an understandable manner. And one of the things that we were talking about fry. We've been talking a lot about, all these people say, oh, well, the bass eat the fry, the bass eat the fry, the bass are eating the fry. We know they eat fry.
Yeah.
To say they eat the magnitude that folks are trying to say, we have not seen that firsthand, and we've seen a lot of stuff go to it, and we've fished a lot of areas. We've consulted with a lot of different people. So it's not our experience that we have seen largemouth bass just massacring snakehead fry. And I want you to break it down like we were talking before the show over the course of a year, that if that snakehead or if that largemouth bass ate
2 to 3 fry a day.
And let's just say we're talking about fry that are 4 inches. We're not talking about little centimeter long fry.
Yeah.
We're talking about, the 40% that do
fry,
make
not
it.
Guppies. Right.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about 40% survival on a fry ball of 100,000. Let's just say 60,000, right? Is that what it's
about 40.
Okay, 40,000. Let's say
10 to 40.
I mean, I don't want people.
Smaller the fish, just less fry. The bigger the fish, the more fry.
Right.
The bass eats 2 fry a day. 2, 3 to 4 inch fry a day.
Let's just say it eats 4 fry a day for shits and giggles.
4
Let's
fry
up it a little
day.
bit. 4 fry a day. And how many days are in a year? We got
352
352 days in the year if we eat
356 days in a year.
352.
1,400 a year. 1,500 a year.
Yeah, 1,500 fry a year. It's what, a third?
Well, just compare that to 30,000, which is kind of, say 25,000. That's a medium brood.
Right.
Okay.
Out of that 25,000, 40% live, which is about 10,000.
About 10,000, yeah.
And
So you've eliminated
So
one
he's
bird.
1,500. So there's still 9,000 babies out there swimming around.
And that's the way that realistically we should be looking at all this. I mean, this is black and white in front of us, So I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's
and that's considering that a bass only eats snakeheads.
Yeah,
Right.
well, he's
No,
gonna
he doesn't need anything
that
else.
and
Yeah, Bob Wilkerson, you better be lucky I don't breed 3 to 5 times a year. What would you do with 100,000 of me around here? Right? Jesus God.
We'd be
I'm
in
thinking
trouble.
one.
We're lucky there's not one little Kaz.
Now,
Don't
for
worry,
those you
folks,
don't know,
we're going to neuter him
Bob,
tonight.
for those you don't know, Bob will be on the show here a little bit later, talk about that big 8-pointer that he killed today.
Right.
You know, we're going to talk about that. But anyway, so back to Cornflower. You know, we're talking about just the numbers aspect. You know, real mind, real time. Okay, so out of that one fry ball, you know, we're moving those fish. What about the other tens of thousands that ain't even getting hit? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Here, not talking about other places. You know, that's why these numbers have unfolded the way that they have. And I know that this is not a lie for me to sit here and say, Cornflower, me and you have caught over 800 pounds of snakeheads in one day.
Oh yeah.
In one day.
I mean, it's yeah. I haven't seen them numbers this year like that, like we were catching. But I ain't been away from the bridges either.
Right.
You know, if you get
But the
out
guys that we know that are getting away from the bridges, they're
you
turning.
go out,
We're seeing the coolers. We
50
know
numbers,
what they're
they
turning.
catch
You know what I'm saying? Right.
No problem.
And again, I think some of this goes back to the intelligence of the snakehead. We know that you're only going to hook a big snakehead 3 or 4 times, and you ain't going to get it no more times. And he's probably not going to do it again the rest of his life. He's going to realize, man, I ain't fooling with that. I'm just eating what I know is safe to eat. Blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying?
Unless you're on Key
Guaranteed.
Wallace.
Huh?
Unless you're on
Key Wallace. Key Wallace
You know,
going phenomenal this week.
I was hunting yesterday, and the place I was hunting was like a little island, but next to it was a bunch of flooded timber. And the flooded timber's kind of in it's almost like a pond. It's not really, doesn't have any water access around it. It's just a low spot. And about an hour before dark, I heard like 4 bullfrogs, and it just caught me totally off guard. It's the first time I heard a bullfrog all year long. You know, like, what the heck is that? You know, it just used to be at the edge of dark. If you were sick of deer hunting, you couldn't hear a deer coming in for the bullfrogs.
Yeah.
And just to hear, you know, it was like 4 of them, man. It was just cool.
And that really doesn't matter where you're at in Blackwater because it's
No,
all
that's
pretty
everywhere.
much gotten like that now
But
here.
this
you
place,
know?
I guess it might be some little snakeheads in there, but
Yeah, I mean, you get down to
It's not
Crapo and
accessible
stuff
for
like
fish
that,
to
and some
get
of
in.
them real shallow marsh areas back there. I think you can still find a few frogs down there, but I mean, up
Not
here,
on the
Gary,
river
it's-
edges.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like you just hit the nail on the head there. I mean, we've been saying that for 3 years. You know, I know 3 years ago that me and Cornflower, we were potting ditches for crayfish. Remember, all the ditches we're catching these snakeheads in. This is one of the most outrageous stories in the world, and I just can't understand for the life of me why somebody has not jumped on this, on the biology side, on the government side, on the wherever the hell side. These ditches that we're now catching 20 snakeheads in a day, anywhere from this to 8, 9, 10 pounds.
Have nothing else left in them.
Have nothing left else
Nothing.
in them. And we have had crayfish traps now for going into the 3rd year that we keep test potting these places. We have not seen one crayfish. Not one crayfish. Let me say it again. Not one crayfish in 3 years. And 4 years ago, we still got 10 pounds out of, a ditch.
Yeah.
The 2 years before that, we were averaging about 30 to 40. And the year before that, we were averaging 60. So that can show you right there. And this isn't us going in there ripping out of a ditch of crawfish because we weren't playing like that. We were trying to make sure that we had plenty of bait. Right. So, I mean, that's the thing that we're trying to tell you. I hear everybody saying, no, it's safe here. It's safe here. We're it's 2007, 17. We're 13 years into it here. You know what I mean? These guys in these other places, they're only 2 or 3 years really into it.
Yep.
Me and you started chasing snakeheads. I know that I hooked up with you in like 2010, 2011, somewhere in there, and you were already catching them.
Yeah.
And that was what kind of attracted me and you together, I think, is that we both were like, dude, man, let's go get them. You know what I mean? So I think that the craze is just kind of dominoed from there. You know what I mean? And I want to thank you for everything that you've done, for the people out here too. And I know the people out here want to say thank you to you too, Cornflower. You know what I'm saying?
Much appreciated.
I think the biggest thing for us here as a whole is that we have all tried to unite instead of fight one another on what we think about or what we believe in. And I think that we are effectively making some kind of a difference.
I definitely think we're making a difference, and I'm hoping it's enough of a difference that we see the
results of something,
and the
right?
bluegills and the largemouth maybe make some kind of rebound, but
Right.
Now let's talk about. You just said the word, so I'm going to go right to it. Cornflower, me and you have been crappie pan fishing guys every winter for the last 10 years. We've spent
20 years for me.
Well, I'm just saying, for me down here, 10 years. I'm just saying. Well, I've been down here a long time too. I'm just saying, for the last 10 years since me and you have been friends, we have watched the shift in the the abundance of the panfish species. So let's talk a little bit about. Now you can find the panfish. You can find some panfish.
Catch a few,
but you can't. We can't find none of this panfish.
I have caught
more.
absolutely hardly any small ones. Maybe 1 or 2 under 10 inches this year.
When we used to go over to Aries, okay, me and you used to take them little trout magnets and just sit there and jig bluegill all day long, anywhere from 3 inches out to 8 inches, 9 inches. They were big bluegills, and Cornflower
did take a break because you get tired of reeling them.
Right, but let me ask you this: Cornflower, did we just take every fish we wanted to from there? Let's talk about what went back opposed to what we were harvesting size-wise back then, because some guys want to talk about saying there was never any small. Bullshit.
Oh Lord.
It
would be
10?
1 to 10. You would keep one big one and
Right.
throw 10 back, and you'd sit there all day. And at the end of the day, you probably caught 300 to 400 panfish, and you might have kept 50 to 75 out of 300 or 400. And everybody says, "Oh, well, you decimated the population."
I want to say this because we know guys that came down there. You guys keep them. You guys do that. Dude, whatever, dude. You ain't from here. You don't know. So. You know, that's my point. You know, I mean, watched
there was days that, I did catch 100, 200 pound of crappie, but that's the 10 plus that I kept inches. I mean, the 5 to 7 inch ones that you caught.
Right.
Oh my.
Oh, no.
You
hundreds,
like you got tired of
hundreds,
reeling them in,
right.
you know. Yeah. And it ain't for the past 4 years.
Now everybody was seeing these big crappie last week you were catching. So let's talk about what we can find. We can find big shit.
There's nice crappie still around these bridges. I mean, you ain't gonna have a 50 or 60.
Yeah, I want to clarify that.
Yeah.
We ain't going to catch 50, 60 a day like we did 5-7 years ago.
No,
we know
no.
that. You will find a few, but like at Newbridge, what you caught, to give people an idea, what you caught last week at Newbridge compared to what you caught at Newbridge 5 years ago before we really started to see the impact. What was the difference between last week and 5 years ago?
5 years ago, you go to Newbridge and you could fill 5-gallon buckets.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Meister. I mean, all the guys that we all ran with, we can all confirm that. You know what I mean? And it wasn't just Newbridge; it was everywhere. You know?
I remember 10 years ago, maybe going back a little more, maybe 15 years ago, you pull up a Newbridge and you could hardly get a parking spot. The yellow perch, crappie, and the white perch were running. And people were lined up on the bridge, just like they are snakehead fishing, but they were catching yellow perch, crappie, and white perch.
Yeah, and remember, we never had a crowd here until the snakeheads came, right?
They put the parking lot in at 335 because there were so many people parking on the side of the road, almost causing accidents for the white perch runners.
Yeah, but remember, all these people didn't come until we started talking about snakehead fishing here.
That's not what I remember. I remember having to get up.
I don't think anybody that lives here remembers anything like that.
It's always been that way.
Right.
I can remember yellow perch fishing at the spillway at Y Mills. And I always wondered when I was a kid if the person at the end of the line fell in, would it be like Dominic? Because they were elbow to elbow. I mean, literally both sides of the spillway was elbow to elbow. And then people down in the stream.
These guys that are coming here fishing here for the last couple of years, we're glad you're coming here and we're fishing. But to conform an opinion or to tell us about our fishery when we've been in here for 15, 20 years, that's just not.
I've seen it. Well,
yeah.
You know, the land wasn't any higher, but the water was lower.
Yeah.
So you could park a little better. Back in those days, and you go down to the New Bridge or DeCourcy or Drawbridge. Good God. And you go down there, be 20, 30 cars down there, and the bridge would be 40 people fishing.
The big difference now is everybody's bringing their boats. Where before we didn't have a lot of that. You didn't need you no matter where you fish, you could fish. You could catch fish.
Were in Alaska.
But seriously, I mean, all the places we could catch fish. It didn't matter. We didn't need the boat. You know what I mean?
No.
I think one of the biggest things, like, I when I started a page 4 years ago, no boat needed. Remember, we were going to do that, you know, about all of our fishing experiences with no boat, you know? So, you know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the perch. I mean, we've watched the resident perch just disappear. I mean, like Drawbridge, when we'd be jigging them bluegills, you'd be catching little yellow perch, you'd be catching little white perch with them, all that stuff. They ain't not here no more.
No, hardly at all. And it's a shame. I mean, the yellow perch were a devastation when they disappeared. And 10 years ago at 335, you got tired of catching pike. you're catching the pickerel, the chain pickerel, some of the biggest chain pickerel
and
I
the
ever
yellow
caught
perch too. There
were
were
in the
just
black
amazing, man, right there. I remember when I first met. I think it was Ken Kunz and Jeremiah Kunz years ago. You know, we were all over 335. That was a place that we liked to fish, you know, and do some stuff. And I'll tell you,
It had everything. It had
yeah, I mean,
pickerel, bass,
we caught nice
yellow perch, white perch.
I mean, Ken and Jeremiah be on one side, we'd be on the other side. We'd be hollering back and forth. I got two, yeah, I got two more, man. And these were good-looking fish. Now, before I forget about it, bam, we got the diamond plate right here for hunting season. So if anybody wants to get this sticker right here, you have to leave a comment that says specifically this. Give me that sticker, Kaz, and we'll give it to you. First person that puts that in there, you got that sticker. So yeah, I mean, you think about the yellow perch that we were doing back there, you know, 2 at a time, 12, 13 inches. There was no netters in there, so to speak of back then at all. And there's really only one guy that I would say really nets the refuge, you know, and we knew who we're talking about. And that's not the reason.
Yeah, that's only spring, 2 or 3 months.
No,
out of the
And let's talk about our gut shots. I mean, me and you, we got thousands and thousands of gut shots. Anytime anybody
yellow
wants to
perch
see them,
was
bam,
the
that's what I want to say.
thing
Yep.
I've seen in the snakeheads.
Yep.
You
And
know.
now they're seeing it up the bay. I mean, the guys I'm talking to over Middle River, them yellow perch are starting to come in there. Up in Joppa Town, Rumsey Island, yellow perch are starting to come in there a little bit. And, man, I mean, everybody I'm talking to, you know, they're saying,
I mean, I'll be surprised if they don't see nothing change up there. But
you got it, Bob.
2 years they've been up there. Give it 10 years, like they've been over here, and you're definitely going to see a change in them rivers.
Nope,
Yeah.
Roland Timmons got it.
Yep.
I mean, the yellow perch and the white perch start this year.
I want to shift our conversation to something else. Blue cats. Do we have a blue cat problem in Blackwater?
No, there is some. There's some, but they tend to like the
Colder, more oxygen.
colder,
They can't.
deeper, like
We're down
up-
Fishing Bay way.
you know
On
what I
that
mean?
end
Not
of
even much
Blackwater.
down
They're
there.
starting to show up in all the river sticks. I mean, they've been catching them trolling in the chop tank. Everybody's been out there before this Rock the Chop Tank tournament practicing.
Oh, that's this weekend too. If we're
Yeah,
thinking about that,
that's this
make sure we
weekend.
talk about that at the end of the show, Eddie.
And I've had 10 different people call me. Man, I just caught a 30-inch blue cat trolling in the chop tank. Another one. The one guy caught 7 in one day trolling.
Wow.
Yeah, so just when you think you got the 35-pound rock, you come in and it's a blue cat.
What I'm trying to get at here is that me and you both know that it's not a blue cat problem. It's not a white cat
Blackwater.
problem. It's not a Mad Tom
Not in
problem. It's not
Blackwater,
an
it's
eel
not a blue cat
problem. It's
problem.
not a rockfish problem. It's not a bass problem. It's not a bluegill problem. It's not a crappie problem. It's not a gar problem. I can keep going on with all the species of fish that we got here. We know what the problem is. So, I mean, the bottom line is this: we know that the oxygen levels in Blackwater are not conducive for the for the blue cats that need that oxygen.
No, they
Water
need a lot of
temperature wise,
oxygen, too.
you know, we might get some cold water, and me and you both know we've seen big blue cats come in here.
Oh, yeah.
But if they're not out of here by say March, April, May,
When the water
we
starts
see them
getting
belly
hot,
up. They're
yeah.
floating out there like balloons. You know what I mean? So we know that's not the problem.
Yep,
so
yep.
anybody else can go ahead and continue to lobby for that, but that's not the problem in here yet. If blue cats get in here and do something, then yeah, it could be. But I don't see it happening,
I don't see it
especially
happening,
especially anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? Even with water rise, right, Gary? So
Yeah.
I mean, it'd take a long time for it to. I mean, you would need another 4 or
They-
5 feet of water. You know what I'm saying? For it to be any kind of.
They like some fast current, the blue cats do. They like it moving a little bit.
So cornflower, you done crabbing for the year? You're not crabbing much anymore.
No. Once crabs go cheap, I don't.
Let's talk about a raffle for the what is it? Our
Midshore
Midshore
Fishing
Fishing Club. I know
Two tickets left this
Yep,
week,
We got
next
2
week.
tickets left. This is one for this week. So this is a free guided trip that you will get. We'll put your name in the raffle. It's for 3 anglers. It includes lunch at the Wolford Store during the 2021 season. The trip's provided by the Wolford Store. It's the home of the best cheesesteak on the Eastern Shore, and snakeheadlife.com, Kaz Kenny. All proceeds go to the Clint Waters Scholarship Fund at University of Maryland, Horn Point. So that's a good organization to send some money to. What you're going to have to say is, give me, G-I-V-E, give me that raffle ticket, Kaz. You can have that.
Older fishing tournament last,
Yep. That was just was it? When was that?
last week or a week before?
Yeah, it
You
was-
won it, didn't you?
No, 2 years ago, I placed first in the catfish.
That's what I thought.
Part of
Okay,
it,
I
yeah.
couldn't remember. I knew it was one of them.
I didn't get in it last week or whatever.
And, you know, before I forget, too, I want to say, it's a good time of the year to be out there doing some bow hunting. I know that they're out there tonight doing some shooting. So working class outdoorsmen, if you want to get out there on the water in the evening time and do some shooting, these guys are great to go with, and they can teach you everything you need to know, and you will come home with some good dinner. So what are you gonna do for the rest of the year? Let's talk about the bait boys. Let's talk about your self-serve. Let's talk about your minnows. Let's talk about what you got going on. So for those of you that do know, this whole reface thing that we're doing, kind of started because somebody took some minnows a couple times and wasn't saying anything, and we were gonna call them out. And this is the bottom line, okay? If you've come and you've gotten minnows 3 times and you've forgotten all 3 times to pay for your minnows until we call you, you're just not forgetting anymore where we're from, okay, bro? It's pretty simple to see the box there, to see the sign, see everything. So that's how the whole reface thing started. But now we've been using that just to market you and do some sales and some things like that. So tell people about where you're at, where they can get the minnows, what you charge.
Right in Secretary, which is, believe it or not, from Newbridge, Aries to Coursey Bridge, 10, 15 minutes max. So, and if you're coming from the Western Shore, you can slip right through east in the back way, Dover Road. That way you ain't got to, backtrack to come by. But self-serve, you can anytime after 4 a.m. up till about 9 o'clock at night. You can help yourself with minnows. Actually got some live eels in there now too for striper season.
How much charging for eels?
Huh? How
much are eels?
$250 each. $250 each for the live ones.
Any more peelers, or are you out of peelers?
No, we're out of peelers. We do have frozen peelers and soft crab aprons. Frozen. We now have salted surf clams.
How much are that?
Man, I believe they're $5 a pint container.
Okay.
Which is like 4 or 5 clams. They're as big as your hand, so I mean they're giant. We're also starting to carry green crabs if anybody wants to hogfish. So. You want to talk a little bit about your offshore stuff you'd like to do down there with Monty and them guys? Give them a little plug. I like Monty. Monty did a lot for Christopher. Monty is my favorite one to go out with, that's for sure. I don't think there hasn't been a time on the boat I haven't limited out ever on his boat for sea bass. I mean, he puts you on the fish. That's all I got to say.
And he's done a lot of conservation. I mean, talk about the reef.
He's got
reefs everywhere. Yep.
He drops blocks and builds reefs.
So
we fished a reef that I don't even know how old he said it was. Wasn't old, 20 days old or something. And I mean, we were pulling fish off it already. So
structure.
Yeah, it's just a matter of having structure. Yeah. Coral, mussels, everything grows on it. And once you start attracting everything else,
once you got the mussels, then you got the togs.
Oh, the tog condos are the way to go. They are the blocks.
I like tog fishing. It's a lot of fun.
Now you just went salmon fishing.
Oh, it was some of the most fun I had in a long time.
Talk about that. Tell us a little about that.
Man, it was. We stayed in Pulaski, New York, right on the Salmon River.
Great place up there. Great
took
people.
bushel crabs up with us, and Friday night we were sitting there eating crabs. The river wasn't. It was in sight. I mean, you could see it, and there was 20-pound salmon just jumping nonstop in the river while we're sitting there eating crabs. Of course, I couldn't take it. I had to leave the crabs and go down to the river and fish until dark. But I didn't have no luck right there on the Salmon River. They were there. They were jumping. We had to go up to Oswego Dam.
Now you can't snag the fish there.
No.
Explain that to people.
You've got to catch them in the mouth, which we were using. We started out with floats, slip bobber, with salted salmon eggs. They were salted with some kind of salt that has ground up krill in it too. And
should we start making that at the Bait Boys?
Man, I thought about salting the surf clams down with it. It looked really good to add the color to them. Being it's krill too, it probably would work good. But so we caught them on the salmon eggs, and I was putting gobs on it first. I mean, the first cast I caught a 25-pounder on a gob of eggs as big as my hand, and then somebody was like, "No, man, you only need 1 egg on."
Yeah, I said Cornflower's the guy you take fish and be like, "Hey, bro, stop using whole bloodworms, dude. All you need is a piece, man. They're $19.99 a dozen, bro. You ain't putting no money in. Leave them." Just kidding.
Man, I'm just a firm believer. The bigger the bait, the bigger the fish. I mean, when you catch it.
Gary, what did you just say? I heard it.
I said they're using eggs. He's using an omelet. Salmon omelet.
Oh my God.
But it was a load of people. We stayed away from the people a little bit and fished right up at the dam. And I don't know. It was maybe the first hour and a half. I had my limit. So
How many are you allowed?
you allowed 3 of any species, 3 kings, 3 cohos. But I mean, you can have 1 coho, 1 king.
You only have three fish
Three
total.
fish, yeah,
Right.
total. We did catch a couple brown trout. Now they're beautiful, and they were small. They were 5-6 pounds, and I just catching a 30-pound fish versus a 5 or 6 pound fish. I'm throwing a 5 or 6 one back, and I'm waiting for my 30-pounder.
Like again, an omelet, not an egg, bro.
But they would have got mad. I hooked the brown trout on and floated him back out. But man, there was some big fish being caught. They said this year was the biggest they've seen running.
I've been
in a
trying
long
to share
while.
some of the posts I've been seeing. Yeah.
So, but we seen steelhead caught, we seen brown trout caught, we seen rainbow trout caught, we seen cohos caught.
Let me ask you this: do you like ice fishing?
I think that's your answer.
I know, right?
I'm gonna stick with my blue cats in the
All right,
market.
so I'm gonna tell a story now. Okay.
If I can break the ice with my boat, yes.
I've been waiting for this the whole story, right? So we're all. It's like 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning. We're at Deep Creek. Cornflower's never been. Who was with us? I know it was.
It was me, Marty, Joey.
Joey. Okay. So it was
I had the auger.
Yeah. So we're going out. On
It was like 2 in the morning now. 2.
Oh, hold on a minute.
Foggy.
Hold on. Don't mean to interrupt everybody. Hold on. Let me see what's going on here. Bob, are you there?
I'm here.
Bob, you're live on the Blackwater's Edge podcast. So thanks for calling in, and thanks for talking about your deer. So you killed a big buck today over in Blackwater, correct?
I got lucky. I have squirrel fights not once in a while.
Very good. So we're not going to talk about the area that you hunted, but let's talk about the deer. So tell us a little about your hunt. When did you get in there? When the deer come out? When did you kill them? Give us a little update on that.
I actually didn't even get in till like 9:30 because where I was going to go, there were so many people there. I said, I had to hunt the same area because I had a quota. I was going to sign up for one area.
Good.
So I went back.
This was your first. This was your first quota hunt. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No. Well, actually, the answer was have a quota hunt, but I had somebody passed away, and I had to leave the day before.
I got you.
So this is the first one that I actually, got to actually go and hunt. So I'm thinking, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to go back in a couple hours. So I went back to my trailer and I slept. And I went back in. I got 9:30. I got up the tree about 10 o'clock.
Lazy bastard.
I'm 57. Oh man, come on, man. That's elder abuse right there. I didn't.
You want some elder abuse? I'll give you some elder abuse after this show. All right? No, just kidding.
So somebody told me about this, this spot. So it was, way back in the marsh, and I went in. I got up in the tree, and a lot of people they don't hunt in the middle of the day. I usually hunt all day. If I go in, I'm going to hunt all day most of the time. And 2 years ago, I killed the biggest stag I ever killed at 12:01. And
Right.
in the same year, I killed the biggest whitetail I ever killed at 12:03. So anyway, so I don't. In the middle of the day, I ain't taking a nap. I don't know how people can take a nap. I'm not going to keep it. I make excited if I was with my new girlfriend or something. It's just, I ain't taking a nap. And 11:30, the way I was sitting, the way I was facing, the sun was shining straight to my left shoulder, and I heard something over to my right. And I look over, and the way the sun's shining, and here comes that box, and I go right behind him. They come out of the frag.
You hold on a minute. You mean to tell me the does are chasing the bucks in the marsh?
I didn't see. She didn't have a strap on because I looked. But
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
I did. But he seemed like he was listening. He seemed not listening like he was hit by a car or shot, but he seemed to be like so. Well, obviously I got him. He looked and it's like the whole outer shell of the hook is flying away, and the front hook. And you can see like the soft meat, like I guess they call it the frog on a horse. You can see all that easy meat inside, inside.
Right.
So he was out, but he popped 180. I mean, he was big, giant out here, really like fuck, but just come walking out, the sun was shining right over you. It's like the video, like something happens for everybody else for the wrong except you. Like today, I was a lawnmower and he was a brain. I just got so lucky,
Well, Bob, I know you're a good hunter. I know you're an ethical hunter. I know you put a lot of time in. That's why I kind of wanted to kind of talk to you about the deer, and I want you to know I'm glad you called in. What's the plan for tomorrow? Are you getting back out there again, or what are you going to do?
I'm going to say, I had a nice spike up, but I have a scope on 3 power because that box was at 45 yards. So it turned down, I forgot to turn my scoop that 3 power. I kept picking my gun off, looking at this bag tonight, and I'm like, man, it's too far away. And then after it walked away, I got my range, I got 303 yards. I looked at my scope, and I got the scope on the 3 power setting up. So, I'm going to do fire shot and this, we'll get down and do what we're here. But if he comes back tomorrow, it's going to be a good story. But yeah, I'm moving back in there in the park.
All right, good deal, Bob. Hey, man, thanks for calling in. We appreciate you calling in. And now that we know we can do this, now we can have people call in and talk to us every now and then, So we'll see how we can do that. We're going to try this out today. Thanks for being our test guinea pig. And, hey, man, congratulations from all of us here at Blackwater's Edge on that buck, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nice deer.
All right, man, thanks.
All right, Bob, have a good night, buddy. All right, back to Cornflower. But before we do that, all right, Bob, thanks again for all that. Hey, look, I got another one of these diamond plate snakeheadlife.com stickers. So the comment needs to be, I love to harvest snakeheads, and you can have that sticker. So back to Cornflower. I forgot where in the hell we were at. So let's get back there. What were we talking about? You don't remember either. He's just as burned as everybody else around.
Talking about salmon.
Yeah.
Oh, salmon. So let's get back to the salmon fish. So you got through your salmon trip. You caught your brown trout. You decided not to keep that because a 5-pound fish isn't a 25-pound fish.
We're talking about ice fishing.
You were talking about
ice fishing. Yeah, I'm going to tell the story about the ice fishing.
Sorry about
So here's where we were. So I said to Cornflower, I said, hey, you're going ice fishing with me. He goes, all right, I will. He would not go, and then finally talked him into it. So they meet us up on 70 at some parking lot somewhere, and we left there. We get up to Deep Creek. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, I think. Isn't that when we got up there?
2:30.
2:30.
2:30 in the morning.
Because we want to get out there and get our holes drilled and everything. And,
Like 80 degrees out in the middle of the winter. Fog coming off the ice. So you couldn't
and they're
see
wondering,
about
are we
20
going to
yards.
be okay out here? And I'm like, so we're walking. And for those of you that don't ice fish, when ice grows, it cracks. It sounds like a whale. It moves under your feet. You kind of might shit your pants every now and then if you get a little scared. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, me, Cornflower, Joey, and it was Joey,
Marty.
right? Or Marty and Joey. We're walking out, and the ice cracked, and it made a big sound, and everybody stopped. And I said, "What the hell are you guys stopping for?" And Cornflower goes, "What was that?" I said, "Oh, it was just the ice." He goes, "Is it safe? It's hot as hell out here, man." I said, dude, we're on 8 inches of ice. We're good to go. And you could just tell, right, that they were that all three of them were like, what was that? So I get a couple more feet, and I says, you got your pull cords on, right? And they're like, pull cords? I was like, yeah, none of you guys got a life vest on. You got something under there in case you go in? And they were like, no, I thought you said we weren't going in. I said, well, shit can happen. I'm not saying it's never happened before. All three of them, dude. I'm done. I'm going home, man. I'm not doing this. You guys lost your mind. You guys are crazy. And every time I've been telling these guys down here what I do in the wintertime, like, dude, you've lost your mind. I'm not sitting on no ice for 8 hours a day. You are absolutely insane.
I told you the same thing.
So anyway, so Cornflower gets out there, and this is Cornflower because Cornflower just catches fish. Doesn't matter where he goes. About 4 o'clock now, and I hear, I got one. I'm thinking, he ain't got shit, dude. He's hung up on the bottom. He ain't never done this before. I walk over, he pulls up his red eye rock bass about this big. Sure enough, he had one. He goes, man, I had 3 bites already. So anyway, so that was our ice fishing trip, and I think you cut it short and you guys went home or something happened. I can't remember. And to this day, they all refuse to come back. So guys, here's an open invitation.
I'm with you, bro.
Come on.
I got a pool table.
I'll come over for the pool table. Like I said, I'll take my boat out as long as we crack through it. I'm good in the boat.
So I know we've got a lot of stuff to do this winter, me and you. So bait, we're going snakehead fishing. I'm going to go to Florida. You want to go to Florida for a week or two with us or what?
Man, I cannot go to Florida because I might not never come back to Maryland.
Well, that's just me and you go. Maybe we won't come back to Maryland.
I've been offered a couple really nice jobs.
I know
down
you
there,
have.
man.
I know you have. I know you have.
Wow. I think it would be so cool.
So, you're fishing the tournament this weekend. Talk about what you got going on this weekend. Tell everybody what you're doing. You gonna win the money or what?
Rock Chop Tank Saturday. So hopefully I'll get into the money category. We didn't do bad last year. We took 4th or 5th place last year. So
What kind of money are you winning in these things?
man, first place last year was like 20 grand. So
Yeah, it was a good chunk last year.
What would that do for you if you got 20 grand?
well, I'd have to split it 5 ways, so it wouldn't do much. It'd about pay for the wife's car, you know.
Now,
Which should be a farmer's commercial, is what that should be.
Now there is another tournament this weekend too, and there a catfish tournament or something.
That's the 31st.
The 31st. Okay.
Pretty sure I'm fishing that one too.
Now tell everybody about that. Where's that? When's that coming up?
Sharptown. I think it's the first one they've had in the fall this year. They usually have one in April every year. Which I think they got that one in this year too, even though the COVID was going on and all that. But yeah. So that'll be my first time fishing in that catfish tournament. I usually like to wait a little later until December or January to fish for the big blues, but
There are different categories for catfish.
man, I think it's just the first, second, and third.
I mean, so blue cat probably will win then because
Blue cat will win. In the spring, I think a 40-pound one won it.
Yeah,
So
that's a good size.
a good
fish.
size one. Yeah.
Before we roll over this too far, why don't you tell everybody your own farmer's commercial there about your wife's car real quick?
Oh man, I just got my wife a new car, Volvo, real nice car. And it was great, loving it. And, you know, all summer long I got chickens. Anybody that's been to my house for minnows knows I got chickens. I get 6 eggs a day, every day. Well, you got to fight with the black snakes over the eggs. I mean, you go back there to get your eggs, and he's done ate 2 of them, and you carry him down the street 5 different times a half-mile away, and you paint his tail orange so you know which ones are coming back. And up to a mile away, yes, they come back because they got the orange tail. So they find their way back in about 4 days.
This is not real. This is not real, dude.
Yes, it is. So, you know, you're walking back to get the minnows or whatever. There's a 5 or 6 foot black snake laying there. They're,
With an orange tail.
yeah, with an orange tail. You're like, what the hell? Well, I
You
painted
see
it
that on the
orange.
website. What kind of snake is this? It's got an orange tail.
Is this for sale? Is this what you guys are catching snakeheads on? Is this bait?
My neighbors come. They're like, dude, why are you letting your snakes go down at the end of the street? And I'm like, what do you mean? We see you walking down the street with snakes in each arm, and you keep letting them go. I'm like, they ain't mine, man. They keep just eating my eggs. I'm trying to bring them down. So anyway, the wife gets this new car. She has it 2 months. She puts 415 miles on the car. She comes in the house, and she said, car's making a funny noise. I said, car's making a funny noise. What do you mean? It ain't running right. It just started today when I come home. So I take the car out and drive it around, and sure enough, it's making a hellacious.
Billy Hughes, you got that sticker. Sorry.
Man, it's making a hellacious sound on the hood. I get back, and it
Billy
sounds
Turner.
like
Billy Turner.
Barons are going up. So I call the dealer, and I'm like, car's making funny sound, you know, blah, blah, blah. They're like, we'll be right out to get it. We'll come and tow it right to the shop. So they tow it to the shop, and they called me the next day, and they said, are you missing any of your snakes?
Are you shitting, dude? This is crazy.
I said, do what? He said, I thought he meant there was a snake in the car when they got in the car to work on it or something, you know? And he goes, well, a snake has wrapped up around your pulleys on the front of the motor, and it killed the snake, and blood and guts everywhere, and the skin wound up around the pulley and caused the bearings to burn up in the pulley, which in turn caused the water pump and everything to stop pumping, and the wife didn't know it, so needless to say, it blew the motor up.
Did he have an orange tail?
They couldn't tell. It wasn't that much left of him.
I had to ask, man. I'm sorry.
But needless to say, $4,000 later, because the dealer ain't covering the motor, because the snake ain't covered under warranty, and since we paid cash for the car, which was everything I made crabbing all summer long, when she got insurance, she only got liability on it. Needless to say, I said full coverage, but you know, nobody listens to the husband. He don't know nothing. And so $4,000 later, I had to put a new motor in the car because of a snake wrapping around the engine. So
We
might
are
not be
farmers.
too many.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum,
Yeah.
bum.
So let me ask you this: Are you still going to be releasing snakes, or
I'm gonna be selling them for snakehead bait or crab bait or something. Yeah, I'm gonna be releasing them all right.
Orange tails work best.
Yeah, sales work best. You got it.
on a 8-ounce chatterbait, baby?
Just throw them in your eel tank. They will know.
That's right.
Never would I. I mean, I love snakes to death. I
Not me.
I don't like to kill anything I don't have to kill, but $4,000 later, it's somebody's paying.
Yeah.
And the wife said it's not the snake's fault, and I said no, it is the snake's fault. He climbed up in the engine. I mean,
Placing the blame somewhere. So Corn, look, we've been on here now almost an hour. Is there anything that you want to say about yourself that you haven't said tonight that we don't know about you, that you want somebody to know? Is there, anything that you want to add to this podcast before we wrap up?
Or anything you don't want them to know.
Yeah.
well, that's I was thinking more along those lines, No, man, no. It's great. I love the podcast. I love watching you guys. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you coming
great.
on, man.
Yeah.
We've come a long way in 3 years,
Yeah.
and let's just reemphasize this for all these people that think we're rich and we're rolling in dough and we're making all this money and we're driving Lamborghinis and Ferraris and sitting on the beach with all 10 hot babes wrapped around us on a
right,
yacht
bud.
out in the ocean.
I took off 3 days and hunted this week.
Because you need to eat.
All one in it.
Because you need to eat, right? Free
Yeah.
food.
I'm probably not going to get anything for dinner for the next 3 or 4 days.
That's the thing about hunting. I do not. I would pass up a 10-point buck to shoot a 60-pound doe. Hunting is straight for meat for me.
I'm a meat hunter.
Yeah, he's always been
I
like
mean,
that.
I'm not going to pass up the rack, but I'm a meat hunter.
Right. Yeah, I'm not going to pass it up, but
Man,
I'm out there looking
They
for
hurt
meat.
your back dragging them, and the doe's so easy. I mean,
Yep.
One
One
of
in
the
each
clubs.
hand.
One of the clubs I hunt in, we have a rule 4-pointer or bigger. It's a good thing.
We have that over on our
Yeah,
property.
on our
Six. It's got to be mature. It's got to be out past its ears. You can't touch it if it's not.
My rule of thumb is if it's not worth mounting, it's not worth shooting. Yeah, otherwise, you're hunting for meat.
well, see,
That makes it easy.
that's kind of the rule where we are too. It's not mountain, but I don't like if I get anything mounted, it's going to be a European mount, with the
Right.
skull.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, same thing.
I'm a bone collector. I love it.
Yeah, I like to dip 'em.
Anybody's
Yeah,
walked
me
in your
too.
little garage knows you collect bones.
186 racks right now.
Orange tail, snakes, and bones.
Yeah, there was, man. Last year there was a snake in the garage on the racks, crawling down the wall.
So before I leave, tell everybody about your big python that you have. How long this son of a bitch is.
I actually sold him last
Did you
year.
sell him last year?
Yeah, he got too big. He really did. I was
Somebody in Florida
seriously.
No, he bought this thing and told me, he's like, yeah, I bought Brutus. He's a he's a number one straight vein, 100%. He's only been.
reticulated python. He's reticulated python.
But it was a certain kind that got massively big or something. I said,
22
dude,
feet.
you've lost your mind, man. What are you gonna do with a
long.
22-foot snake? He said, let
when I
it
got
eat.
rid of him, he was about 17 foot, maybe right around 100 pounds.
Wow.
Jesus.
I wouldn't
I
even
was-
touch that thing, dude. You know me, I love playing
That's-
with snakes.
That's
The
17
reason I
feet
got
too
rid
long.
of him is he was definitely a little over aggressive.
I don't know.
And I was scared to death that he was going to eat one of the cats. That's the whole reason I got rid
Hold on,
of him.
time out. My only question is,
Where you get one of them snakes?
did you paint his tail orange?
No, not on him.
And you can make a business out of renting them.
I know, right?
Oh man.
Yeah, he was a big one. He'd eat a whole chicken. I mean, a 5-pound chicken, he'd eat the whole thing.
Oh, he'd eat a cat.
No wonder you only get 6 eggs a day.
Wow.
Well, what do you got?
No one more's for me. I'm ready
No
to
one
roll.
more from me either. So we have a pick of the week this week.
We got
Well, so our MEPS pick of the week. We want to thank MEPS. We're going to you can come down the store and pick out a free MEPS here.
This is Joe Parker. Joe Parker caught this 15-pound, 37-inch snakehead earlier this week, and that is a monster.
Yep.
That is an absolute hammer.
Now, before I forget, over at Key Wallace, believe it or not, that is one of my fallback lures this time of the year on just a simple jig head, just swimming it slow, fast through the water, casting long cast down the bank, keep my rod tip high, and just riding under the surface. So make sure that you get some.
What did Joe catch it on? Do you know?
What's that?
What did Joe catch his fish on?
I'm pretty sure it was minnows.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Hold that one up for a second, kids. How long is that fish?
This
No, that fish
No, the
over
mount.
there.
The mount.
Oh, the mount. Oh, yeah, we want to talk about that.
How big is that fish?
Because we know a lot of people are catching fish right now. So, you guys that are out there catching fish, here's the thing. We've got a guy that we can turn you on to. We can get you some mountain done. Yep. Eddie, a little bit about that guy.
Yeah, Barry Taylor. I've got his number in my office. I'll put it in the comments. That way everybody has it.
But, this thing is just...
how long is that fish?
This fish, I thought was 30, 32. Is that
30, 31 or 32. I can't remember.
So that other fish is that much longer?
Yeah,
That's a big fish.
It's another 5-6 inches longer than this fish, yeah. And this one's a hefty fish here.
Yeah. This one's nice. It's heavy just to pick up and hold that thing. So, okay, we got our MEPS pick of the week. We do know Cornflower loves to eat crow.
And he sold his python.
Thank
I
God.
miss it.
The orange-tailed
sure you do.
python.
He had it for a while. He was. Yeah. I hate to say it, dude. You were kind of bonded with that snake. You could tell that when he was playing with the snake.
Yeah.
Anybody else got the snake, it wasn't. It could be a hairy situation there for sure. Gary, why don't you talk a little bit about chatterbaits? Some of the chatterbaits these guys are using here.
Terrell Willis chatterbaits.
Hammered
One
them.
thing's really nice about them is their glitter's on both sides. I don't know if you can see it, but it's on both sides and it picks up. These are some of my favorite lures.
Your spider's your favorite, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just whatever's catching that day.
That's right.
But I don't have 500 different kind of lures. I like chatterbaits. I like splatterbaits, buzzbaits.
You
And some of the
only
frogs,
use a
yeah.
handful of lures. I've noticed that about you. It's like, and they're all the same every time. Which for a lot of people, it's good like that. It's simple, and you don't got to spend $500 on a tackle box.
That's a big part of it. But when you get comfortable with a certain type of action and you're successful with it, there's no reason not to stick with it.
A lot of I always say that 85% of fishing is presentation, and the other 15% is finesse. And if you fish a bunch of different lures, it's hard to use them right.
Right.
And you get it's like these. I use the splatter with his tail on it, and I'll bump it across the bottom. And I've caught some of the biggest snakeheads I've caught bumping it off the bottom. And it's a splatterbait. It's really a chatterbait, a spinner chatterbait is what it is, and it's not made for that, but it works really good, and it stirs up that little bit of mud when it's bumping. And when they hit it,
they hammer it. I've been fishing with you when they hammer it, and it's an absolute.
They commit.
Yeah.
So for those that have not tried any of those baits over with Daryl Willie, make sure you look him up. I know he's having a hard time keeping up because his baits are so good, but bear with him and he'll get you what you need. I know we're waiting on a restock here at the store. We got to get a shitload in here. Yeah. But before we close out the podcast, a lot of people have been talking about MEPS this week.
Always.
Okay, so this week, go back and look through the thread. I've been talking about this tactic for as long as I've been catching snakeheads, and my cousin Ricky showed me this trick. You just take one minnow and you lip hook it on one of them treble hooks when they're short striking you, or they're not short striking, or you're not even getting a bite. And this week, several people connected on those big MEPS with a minnow.
Don't underestimate the 4s and 5s. Everybody likes the 3s, but man, these snakeheads love the 4s.
I wonder if MEPS has ever done a count on how many of these they've sold.
Oh my goodness!
I have no idea. God,
it's probably the all-time.
Oh, I would think so.
Most selling lure ever.
I agree.
Been making them a long time.
I have some boxes I bought off a guy of some MEPS that are 50, 60 years old in some old red cases, and they don't even have hair on them. They're simply just a blade, metal, one bead, and a
undressed.
Hook. Yeah, these were like the originals, and every now and then, like, I don't like to use them where I think I'm going to lose them, but I'm not afraid to go and do some bluegill fishing with them or something like that with something small. And I'll tell you what, even them old bastards from back then are just as good as these lures are today. Yeah. It's time! It's now! The Sunday Fun Day giveaway! Look, folks, do it every week here out here at Blackwater's Edge. Look, we want to talk to you about crabs. Guaranteed #1 Maryland crabs out here at the crab stand. This week, we're going to give somebody a half a bushel of free crabs from the crab stand. But before I do that, we always have to sing our little crabby jingle. And I know Gary and Eddie are going to join me tonight in this little...
Do your giveaway first.
Don't get plural on us.
Yeah. You always do the giveaway first.
Would you like to do it with me, Cornflower? Sing my song?
been doing a lot of singing lately on the reface, and it's kind of.
Oh, your throat's hurting tonight? Well, hey, I want to
Yes.
thank you for all them refaces. We've been doing everything else. So, look, folks, this weekend, the crabs are freaking out of control down here right now. You want them big, giant crabs? We got them big, giant crabs. And we're going to give away a half a bushel to somebody in just 1 second. But before I do that, we always want to sing our little crabby jingle here. And I'm going to expect you to come in at some point, Cornflower, and join with me, okay? At least on the kapows at the end or something like that. So let's get this little thing going. My crabs, they have 3 first names. It's heavy, full, and fat. My crabs, they have a 4th name. Absolutely mustard packed! Hurt. So, if you ask me where they're from, they're 100% guaranteed Maryland number ones, and they're big as shit. At the crab stand, here's a fact I know for sure you're coming back. Kapow! Kapow! Kapow, everybody! And we just want to say thank you for a great show.